It's me tonight. Just letting y'all know, in case you didn't know. I'm up to bat. Women, I don't know. Does anyone have any words to say? We released them all out of Cathedral Oaks. We just got back from our women's retreat, and I didn't know that Taffy Dollar and Lois Evans were going to show up. But they did, and they showed up strong in the house. We had Miss Shawana Huffman, who I call Taffy Dollar, speak, and then we have Miss Sarah Wilson also speak, who I call Miss Lois Evans. They just remind me of them. And powerful. There's not any words that you can say to comprehend or describe what's done. And probably, if anyone has anything they want to say tonight, you can, but it might be a little too soon. So we'll probably wait till Sunday. And just so that y'all can prepare, so that y'all know, come up and just impart a little bit of what happened out there. But yeah, we thank God for that. Thank God for that. All right, so we're going to see what the Holy Spirit does tonight. I'm going to see where he goes. Oh, yeah. Y'all can go. Y'all sitting back there like y'all are staying. Y'all can go. You know who you are if you're supposed to go. All right. Okay. We're going to talk about a few different things tonight. I pray it comes out clear and doesn't come out confusing. So the Holy Spirit is going to do this thing. All right. So, I don't really have a title, but I guess you can put it down as like purpose, destiny, calling, plan. And so the first thing I'm going to do is let y'all know that those are different things. I didn't realize they were different things, because I always just hear it kind of grouped together of like your purpose, your destiny, your calling. You know, you hear that just kind of flung out there like that. Oh, your purpose and your destiny and your calling, you know, your purpose and your destiny and your calling. And so that was just kind of like, and I've used it, you know, grouped together a lot of times because I just figured that it all kind of meant the same thing. But, so I really started looking this stuff up, and it's actually different things. You know, purpose is like which we've taught on that a lot here, so we know what purpose is, but it's like your original intent, your reason for being created. You know, why something exists, your reason why. Some synonyms, you know, for purpose would be like your motive, your motivation, your grounds, your cause, your occasion, your reason, your point, your basis, your justification. You don't have to write all of this stuff down, but just kind of to give you a point of, okay, that's purpose. You know, that's your grounds, that's your cause, that's your reason, that's your intent. But your destiny, are the events that will happen to you in the future. So that's a little bit different than a purpose. You got your intent, then you got your events. So another, you know, some synonyms with destiny are like future, your fortune, your fate, or your doom. But bless you, yes. And So that's different than your call. So you have your intent, then you have your events that are going to happen in the future. And your calling, of course, means, loud cry or shout. Your calling. But also your calling, strong urge to a particular way of life. Your strong urge to a particular way of life. So that's still different than your purpose, which is your intent. Your destiny, your events that will happen in your future. Your calling, your strong urge, a particular way of life. And your plan. So I'm thinking, like when I'm saying these things, I was using them all synonymous, but they're not. Oh, some synonyms for calling. Profession, occupation, vocation, your summons, career, work, employment, job, business, trade, craft, your line of work, your calling. Strong urge to your particular way of life. And your plan, a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. A decision about what one is going to do. Detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. So all of that stuff is totally different. Your synonyms for plan, like your procedure, your scheme, your strategy, idea, proposal, proposition, suggestion, action, intention, objective, your target, your ambition. So you have 4 different things there. 4 different things. We're going to look at some stuff in the Word now that we got that laid out. Okay, go to Jeremiah 29. When you think of plan, what scripture do you think of? Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you. That's what led me there, because I was looking at plan and I was thinking, oh, Jeremiah 29. Let's look at that. But we're going to actually start back up a little bit. We're going to start with verse 1, actually. We're just going to read down a little bit, and we'll see what the Holy Spirit does with it. Okay. This is the text of the letter that the prophet Jeremiah sent from Jerusalem to the surviving elders among the exiles and to the priests. I like what it says in the King James Version. Put in the King James real quick, and then we'll go back to that one. Because I thought it says, these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders, which were carried away captives. He called them people residue. That was interesting to me. Okay, go back to NIV. To the exiles and to the priests and the prophets and all the other people Nebuchadnezzar had carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. So basically, the Israelites, they keep going in these cycles where they would disobey God and then God would exile them. And that's kind of what's happening here. So the word of the Lord's coming to Jeremiah to come and speak to them, to the ones that have been exiled. And, okay, go ahead and go to verse 2. This was after King Jehoiakim and the queen mother, the court officials, and the leaders of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen and the artisans, had gone into exile from Jerusalem. He entrusted the letter to Elisha, son of Shaphan, and to Gemariah, son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. And it said, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Okay, so they're exiled. Okay, they're not a part of what is going on because he exiled them. That means he sent them out, put them somewhere else. These are his people. They're exiled, but they're all exiled together. We'll see that in a little bit. Okay, so he tells them, build houses and settle down. Okay. That would confuse me. If I'm exiled, he's telling me I want to be here a while. Build houses and settle down. in exile. I want to do everything I can to get out of exile. So my focus should be getting out of exile, right? Like, isn't that what I'm supposed to be? Like, I don't want to be out here. Why are you telling me to build a house and settle down? Why are you giving me instructions here? Okay, build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Keep going. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there. Do not decrease. I'm going to read out the King James real quick. Verse 5 and 6. Verse 5. Okay. Go back. Do verse 4. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. So that established. He caused that. He put them in exile. Okay, verse 5. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. And verse 6. Take ye wives, beget sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there, and not diminished. And I like that word, diminished. Not going away, not slowly fading out. He wants them to increase in exile. He wants them to increase where he's put them in disobedience. He still wants something to be happening, even though he's exiled. You understand what I'm saying? Something so, but there's a reason. There's a reason for all of this. Okay. So what he just laid out there is a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. A decision about what one is going to do. That's a plan. So he lays out a plan, and they have a decision of what they're going to do. A detailed proposal. But for some reason, I'm not going to jump ahead. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Okay. There's a procedure here. There's a strategy here. There's a proposal here. Those are all the synonyms for plan that I gave you earlier. A detailed proposal for achieving something. He wants something achieved, even though they're in exile. But it goes deeper than that. All right. Go back. Let's go back. Let's go to Genesis. Let's go Genesis 12. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shoot. Well, to go to the NIV. That's weird words. The Lord had said to Abram, Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Okay. First, though, what did verse 1 say? Go back. Back to verse 1. The Lord has said to Abram, Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land that I will show you. So what is that? A detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. An intention or a decision about what one is going to do. That is a procedure, a strategy. That is something that needs to be laid out to get to an expected end here. But you notice he didn't give a purpose or a destiny or calling. He gave a plan. That came first. Even in Jeremiah, this is what has to happen. He didn't go to the reason for which something was done or created. He gave that first. Leave. Do something. Make a decision. Go somewhere. Okay. Then verse 2. What does it say in verse 2? I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Okay, what was that one that said, I think it's, go to the Amplified. We're fixing to break this down. You know, in English class, where you take each like phrase and you put it where it is, just the preposition, and this is the, okay. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you with abundant increase of favors, and make your name famous and distinguished, and you will be a blessing, dispensing good to others. There is the purpose, destiny, and calling. So his purpose, his reason for which something would be done, your reason for following this plan is to be a blessing, dispensing good to others. That's the purpose. That's why he was created. That's the reason for it. The destiny, the events that will happen in the future. Great nation. Make a great nation. To make a great nation. To make a great nation. The destiny, the events that will happen in the future. The calling, a strong urge to the particular way of life, takes a life of faith. So he's being pushed into being the occupation, carrying the title of the father of faith. He's being pushed and urged into that area. But there's a plan involved. The plan part is where the faith comes in. Because you're not going to ever follow what he's telling you to do if you have not stepped out on faith. It's just not going to happen. But he always gives the plan before. Say, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why is it. You're not going to get the rest till you get the plan. Okay, let's keep going here, because this is going to tie together in a little bit. So the plan there was to leave. That was his plan, right? God laid all that out. All right, let's go to Genesis 15. All right, after these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. You go to the NIV. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. So, he had a plan. He followed that plan because he did leave. It says he did later on in that verse. He did leave. He took Lot, all these things. He did go. But he still got scared because he didn't see the purpose, destiny, or calling. He was being pushed and urged in that direction. He was following that plan. He was doing that, but apparently he was afraid. So it said, do not be afraid, Abram. I'm your shield, your very great reward. I'm enough for you. I should be enough for you. When you step out and you make I should be enough. I should be your shield. I'm that for you. I'm your great reward. So even though the plan is out there, even though you're stepping out on that, even though you've heard what the purpose is, what the destiny, what the calling is, you still might get afraid. There still might be fear involved. But you have to remember, he's your shield. He's your great reward. You don't have to see what's coming out of that. All right, go to the next verse. But Abram said, O sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless? And the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus. God, I don't understand, because I followed the plan. I did what you said, but the purpose isn't here. I'm not seeing the destiny. I'm not seeing that. I'm being pushed into this area, into this place that I don't understand, because I'm not seeing what you said happen. So I don't know what to do. Let me try to take it in my own hands. That's what he's saying. And that's after the Lord told him, I'm your shield. I'm your great reward. Trust me. Okay, let's go to the next verse. And Abram said, you have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. How many of us do that? You didn't do what you said you were going to do. I did. But you didn't do what you said you were going to do. I'm not seeing what I think I should be seeing right now. I'm not seeing what you told me. I'm not seeing what you said I was supposed to have. I'm not seeing that. So I'm going to take things into my own hands. This is what I'm going to do, God. Like he's really hollering at God right now. He's really having a real conversation back and forth, saying, I'm going to take this into my own hands. I'm going to put this on my back. So I'm going to go ahead and confer these blessings to these people that aren't my seed, even though the purpose and the destiny and the calling were for him to have a seed, for him to make a great nation through his genealogy. Okay, keep going. Then the word of the Lord came to him. This man will not be your heir, but a son coming from your own body will be your heir. Verse 5. He took him outside and said, look up at the heavens and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, so shall your offspring be. So God's telling him, that's not the plan. That's not what I laid out. That's not the purpose. That's not the destiny. That's not the calling. That's not the way. Look. So he starts showing him something. Look with your eyes. Look up there. I need you to get a vision. I need you to see what I see. I need you to look and see. Look. He'll open it up. As you're walking through those places, when you get into fear, find your vision. Find the place where he took you. Tell him, show me something else. I have to have something else. I'm not leaving until you give me that vision that I need to keep me going in this direction. I need to know, what is this supposed to look like? But he did do that plan. He did do the first plan. So you have to do what he said to do. But you still might end up in these places. Okay, let's go. Go to Genesis 26 and 4. Well, just go to 26 and 1. Well, first go to Genesis 22. Let's go there first. So the plan in Genesis 12 was he had to leave. Did he leave? Yes, he did. The plan in Genesis 15 was he had to not choose those people to be his heir and choose to keep going believing what God had said. And he did that. He didn't give the blessing to them. He didn't confer all of that onto them. Then we get to Genesis 22. God tested Abram. He tested him. He's following the plans. He's doing what he said to do. Yeah, he got scared. Yeah, he was. And you're still testing me? Now I have this son, and you're still throwing this at me? You're still trying to test and see if what is going on? Because I thought when you told me it was going to happen tomorrow. I thought when you said this was going to happen right away. And nothing happened. He didn't see it. It didn't work the way he thought in his mind that it was going to work. It didn't happen that way. Okay, let's just read through this a little bit. God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. And God said, take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about. And early the next morning, and we know the story about it, he got up. He took him up the mountain. Jump down to verse 17. As he was up on that mountain, when God provided the ram, he brought him back to the original vision, the purpose, the intent. I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as what? The stars in the sky. What I showed you originally is going to happen, even though I'm testing you. Even though I'm seeing if you love me more, I'm your great reward. What did he say? I'm your shield. Quit focusing on all of these things that you think need to happen in the physical realm. Look at me. If you don't keep looking at me, then you're going to lose sight. When you do get the promise and when you do get the fulfillment, you're going to mishandle it. You're not going to handle it with care. You're not going to handle it properly. So you have to keep that in front of you. So that's what he brought him back to that. Now, since you did, I can see that doesn't control you. I can see that's not more important to you than me. You brought that up there. You were going to sacrifice the whole thing because you didn't. And the reason, okay, look at the process he had already brought him up to at this time. He took him, he told him, leave. Abraham did it. Was it easy? No. Leave everybody. I will make you this. Leave. I'll make your name great. Was Abraham's name great? Not at that time. His name wasn't great. He wasn't known all over the place and all this. That didn't happen. Not when he left. I'm sure his name was on people's tongues. But he wasn't great. It wasn't being spoken of greatly. He did that. Then the next thing came. And it's like, how much more do I have to do? What else do I have to show you? But who are you to say you're ready? Who are you to say, I have to see this now? I'm going to put time on this. He kept operating in his calling, the life of faith. He kept hearing that. He kept hearing his calling, father of faith, father of many. That's why he kept showing him that vision. He said, okay, you passed this test. I'm going to bring that back to you. I'm going to tell you again. I will bless you. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. I'm going to add to it now. You need extra in your vision. Here you go. Not just the stars, but the sand. It's going to be increased. It's going to be more than you could ever imagine because you passed that test. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies. Go to the next verse. And through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed. Go back to 18. All nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. You have received what I said and done it according to the plan. That's why it will happen. It will happen. It's going to happen. Go to the next verse. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they set off together. They went forth. He got a clear-cut vision. Okay, there's still more, though. We're not done with this yet. So that means when he went down the mountain, all of a sudden Isaac had all these kids and got married and all this stuff just happened, and all of a sudden his name was great. Abraham's name was great, just like that. All of a sudden he was dispensing good to everybody, just like that. His offspring were taking possession of cities and all this stuff. That happened right away? No, it didn't. Okay. Now go to 26, Genesis 26, and start at verse 1. Now there was a famine in the land. Great name. Nations taking possession of cities. Your seed is going to be doing all these things as numerous as the stars, the sand on the seashore. All this stuff is happening. There's a famine in the land. Here we go again. What else do you want, God? What more do you trying to get from me? What is happening? Why do you keep putting me through this again and again? Why do I keep seeing these same things over and over? Why? I don't understand. What's happening? Okay. Besides the earlier famine of Abraham's time, because this is Isaac that they're talking about now. So Abraham saw more famines too. But that means his name isn't great yet. And Isaac is grown. Isaac is now out here trudging this stuff. This seemed more like a generational curse than a blessing. What is he talking about? If I was going to have to live through this, why didn't you just let me sacrifice Isaac on the altar? Why didn't you just let him die then? Because here we're doing famines and stopped up wells and all this stuff happening and people coming and stealing from us and all this stuff is going on. So how is my name going to be great? How am I going to see that purpose and that intent? What's going to happen? Because I'm not seeing it. It's not happening when I think it should happen. It's not happening the way I think it should happen. It's not going the way I think it should go. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, and Gerar. We know this. Pastor taught on this not that long ago. Verse 2. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live. Another plan. Why do we keep having these detailed, what is it called? Proposals for doing or achieving something, and we're never achieving anything. It seems like we're never getting there because I keep following the plan. I keep doing what you said to do. But what is happening here? I don't understand. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and your descendants, I will give all of these lands and will confirm the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. Keep going. I will make your descendants as numerous as, read it, the stars in the sky, and will give them all these lands, and through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed. Keep going. Because Abraham obeyed me and kept my requirements, my commandments, my decrees. He followed the plan. He did what he was supposed to do. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. That's what he keeps putting in front of them. I will do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to have you in that position. You're going to see this. It just might not be when you think you're going to see it. It just might not be the way you think it's going to happen for you. It just might not be that way. But you have to obey. You have to follow the detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. And you have to have a decision about what you're going to do. Seems like he's dangling a piece of meat in front of him and having him walk with the horse, with the carrot in front of him, and he just keeps walking and he can't take a bite of it. It's like, what is going on? You would think you're operating in something demonic when you're like, what's going on? What's happening here? No. He has a plan. Okay. Remember, I'm trying to think which way we should go first. Let's go back there. Remember Jeremiah 29. Okay, Abraham's long gone. Isaac gone. This stuff happening out here. The Israelites are supposed to be the chosen people. These are the people supposed to be taking possession of land. This is it. Abraham didn't see it. Isaac didn't see it. But he obeyed. He did what was supposed to happen. But read in verse 6. Go back to the King James in verse 6. Well, we can start in verse 5. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives, beget sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons. Give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there, and not diminished. The seed of Abraham was kept, even in exile, even when God was angry, even when God wanted to wipe the people out. The oath he swore, because Abraham followed the plan, because Abraham didn't give up, because he didn't curse God, because he didn't say I'm done, because he honored that. He kept them, even in exile. Do you understand how powerful that is? God is angry. He's angry. These people are worshiping other God. These people are, look, keep reading. He not only kept them and told them, go ahead and build your houses, plant your gardens. I'm giving you a plan to do. Seek the peace of the city. whether I have caused you to be carried away captives. It says, despite that I'm putting you here, keep peace. Despite that I'm putting you here, plant your gardens, build your houses. You're going to be here for a while. You're not going to like it, but keep increasing. I expect something here. I expect something from you. I expect to see this seed keep going, because I already swore to Abraham. I already told him, you're going to live a life of faith and you're going to be a father of many. As the stars in the sky, I told it to him over and over. I told it to his son. I'm going to keep this seed going. It's going to attain what it's supposed to attain. Pray unto the Lord for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. Okay. Verse 8. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. Wait a minute. He exiled them with false prophets? They're all together out here. He exiled them with people that are trying to deter them. He exiled them with people trying to get them to believe lies. He put them in the same place in the encampment of the enemy. People that were prophesying, look at verse 9. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, saith the Lord. So he's telling them another plan. Here we go again. Here's something else. Another test. And this is all still about Abraham's oath. It's all still about that seed. It's all still about that point. He put them in there with them. And he's telling them, don't listen to them. Do you know how hard that would be? Think about that. You have people telling you, and that's the thing. What the plan he's telling them to do was in direct opposition of what the false prophets were saying. They're telling them, don't build here. We're going to get out of here soon. Don't plant gardens. They're trying to diminish the seed. That's the whole point of the voice of the enemy. He wants to diminish your seed. He wants to diminish what is supposed to happen with your purpose. He wants to diminish that destiny. He wants to pull you away from the calling. He wants to get you to forget the original intent and totally thwart the plan, because you never, ever, ever going to get there. That's what they're telling them. Your God doesn't love you. Think about that stuff. They're exiled with these people. He didn't take that away. He gave them a plan, gave them a way to survive in the midst of it. He gave them a resource. He gave them a plan. He doesn't give you daisies and roses. He gives you a plan. Are you going to stick to the plan? Are you going to step out and do what he laid out for you to do? It's your decision. A decision about what you're going to do. You're going to follow the procedure. I'll just inject this a little bit, because procedure reminds me of science. Like when I like science. You always have a decision. I mean, you even think about baking and cooking and those things. You always have a decision if you're going to follow that thing or if you're going to cut corners. I took a lab one time called... the name of it isn't really important, but it was like bioinformatics and genomics, something like that, where you take like a piece of your DNA and you map it out so you can see what your traits are and all those kind of things. We had all that fancy equipment in there. It took a long time. And it seemed like I was doing the same thing over and over. You had to either prick your finger to get some of your DNA, your blood, or you had to like get it out of your cheek or something, and put it in this little bitty, tiny little thing. You had to heat it up. You had to spin it down. Then you had to cool it down. And then you had to wait. And then you had to heat it up again. And then you had to spin it down. And then you had to cool it down. And you had to keep doing this stuff. And you're sitting there thinking, I don't even see anything. It looks like air is in there. You don't even see anything. Because it's all, there's nothing there. Like, this is not going to work. I'm sitting there thinking in my head, this is not going to work. And So I did what they said. They said to do it this many times. But the person next to me, I always followed directions. I was just that person. I'm going to do it exactly the way it says to do. And I still do that now, like with recipes and everything. Like, no. But it says, Bob gets a little more adventurous. He kind of, goes out. He's like, no, you can just kind of gauge it, eyeball it. And I'm like, it says a table. I'm going to put measuring it. And that's the way I've always been like that. But I was getting discouraged. And this person next to me, I'm not doing all that. I was like, okay. And we're pretty good friends. At this point, when you get at this point in college, you pretty much have the same people in every single class. So it's like, well, if you don't want to do it, then that's on you. I'm going to do it because I want an A. So I did it, follow the thing, even though I hadn't seen it. And they were just constantly, this is not going to work. There ain't nothing in here. I don't think mine even has anything in it. So they skipped like 2 or 3 of the heatings and coolings and all these little things and these processes and all this stuff. Then afterwards, you're supposed to get one of the little dropper things and get the stuff out of there, which you don't see, and put it into this machine, and it maps out your DNA. And you can see your traits, like why you have blonde hair and why you have blue eyes and where you got it from, because this side came from here, this side came from... Pretty cool stuff. And it, if you do it correctly, it's supposed to give you a really good little printout that you can... The things light up. So it's a really neat thing. But the person next to me didn't follow their thing. I was really doubting it at this point, because I'm thinking, we're here. We had 5-6 hour labs and just waiting for this stuff to happen. So she put hers in first, and that paper was blank. I said, this does not work. I do not want to fail this assignment. What am I going to do? Because their thing didn't work. And I'm like, really, what could 2 or 3 or 4 of those little heatings and cooling, what could it really do? Like, would it really matter that we skipped that? Because it just, but here comes mine. It takes a long time. And mine printed all the way out. I was like, I just kind of looked at her, and you can do yours again. And you got to do it the way, you got to follow the procedure. Because if you don't follow the procedure and the plan, it's not going to happen. But why I'm telling that is, it had to be heated, then it had to be spun down, then it had to be cooled, then it had to be heated again, then it had to be spun down, then it had to be cooled. It didn't look like anything was in there. It didn't look like anything was happening. It didn't look like any results were going to show, but it took a long time. And not only that, think about, you're going to go in the fire. You're going to get heated. You're going to have problems. You're going to get angry. Then you're going to be cooled down a little bit, and you might be too cold. You might be trying to stray off. You might be trying to go off the course and all this stuff. Then you're going to get spun around. You're going to be confused. You might be dizzy. And then you're still looking at this little thing that looks like it's air inside of here. I don't know what to do because it doesn't look like nothing's happening. I don't know if these results are going to come out the right way. I don't know but I'm going to keep following the plan, the procedure. I'm going to keep doing what he says to do because I want to see the expected end. I want to see the original intent of why I'm doing this. I'm not spinning for nothing. I'm not heating up for nothing. I'm not cooling down for nothing. I'm not seeing stuff and downing for nothing. I'm not going through a test for nothing. I'm not going through a trial for nothing. I'm not laying myself on the altar for nothing. I'm not cutting this stuff off for nothing. It's not about nothing. It's about that purpose. He knows the procedure. My instructor knew what was happening during that time. During that time, that DNA that I took out of my mouth was getting broken down. It was getting broken apart. And it had to be heated and cooled and spun like that every single time, or it wouldn't break apart properly. It would get damaged. Pieces of it would be missed. Pieces of it would fall out. If you didn't handle it with care when you were taking it out of the little thing, pieces wouldn't be read right. The machine couldn't do its job if I didn't do my job. If I didn't handle what was there properly, that would never happen like that. And that's what happens when we step out on faith. When you make a decision and you follow that first plan, I spun it once, I did it once, so I should be commended, right? I should see what I'm supposed to happen now. And that's not the way it works. Look at Abraham. Did that work with him like that? No. He never even saw it. He never even saw. God told him, stars in the sky, sand on the seashore. This is what's going to happen. But you realize God didn't tell him, you're going to see it in your generation, and it's going to be there right in front. He didn't say that. God knew, but he had to follow that procedure. He had to follow that plan. As you're going down this scripture, he's telling them, don't listen to the false prophets. Don't listen to the neighbor sitting next to you telling you, I ain't doing it that way, because that's not doing anything. I know it's not doing anything. They're telling them in opposition, don't build your houses here. I know God's speaking to us. We see too. We're seers too. So a person next to me, she was a scientist too. Actually, she's a doctor now. We see too. We see too. We have insight too. We know too. See? Don't do that. He's the one that's false. He's the one that's lying. But you always have the decision. There's always a genuine. You can taste that genuine. You know when it's the genuine. Because I know the reason that they knew that that was right, because they knew what God told Abraham. That stuff didn't get lost from generation to generation. They knew what they were supposed to be doing. They chose to deviate from the plan, which is how they ended up there in the first place. Okay, verse 10. For thus saith the Lord, that after 70 years in exile be accomplished at Babylon, then I'll visit you again. You're not even going to hear from me. You're not going to get one visitation. For 70 years. 70, not 7. Not 7 minutes. Not microwave your faith up and see if you get the outcome right. 70 years. Build. You're going to be here a while. But you still are expected to increase. I still expect something from you. I expect to see something from you. But God, all these people and all this. No, I expect it. I will visit you and perform my good word towards you and causing you to return to this place. So I'll take you out of there then. I'll perform my good word towards you. But it's got to be 70 years. Then comes 11. Did y'all know all that was before 11? I didn't. I knew something was there, but I didn't know it was all that. For I know the thoughts that I think to. We think it's so wonderful. Because I know the thoughts and the plans. No, this is hope. Because I know the plan. I know what I'm thinking towards you. You're staying there 70 years, but you still need to build. You still need to put some work in the ground. You still need to put some seed in the ground. You still need to marry. You still need to increase. I don't want you to diminish. I don't want you backing up. I don't want you slacking off. You need to tighten up. You need to straighten up. That's why you're here in the first place. Because this word will be performed. What did we go over? Was it Sunday? It might have been Sunday or last week on Wednesday. In Isaiah 55. You can go there. Isaiah 55 and 10. What did he say? For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not, you can go like thither, and watereth the earth, but maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. And go to the next one. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but it will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. That was a word that he gave to Abraham. So even in Jeremiah 29, he's still working that word. He's still guarding that word. He's still held to that word, to that covenant, to that oath, and it will not return to him void. Let's jump over to Hebrews, and I'm going to close it up. Okay, so your plan comes first. Where's your faith? Where is your faith? Have you stepped out? Have you done what you know you're supposed to do? Go start at verse 8. We're going to read for a little bit. 11. Here we go. By faith, Abraham. Why are we writing about this in the New Testament? Because he never saw it. When called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went. Even though he did not know where he was going. He packed up and left. He didn't even know what was out there. He didn't know what was going to happen. Oh, the next verse. By faith, he made his home in a promised land, like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac, my son and my grandson. Really? Both of them. And I've been telling him the promise is going to come through him. I've been building him up like this. I've been telling him. And he ain't going to see it either. And my grandchild's not going to see it. None of them are going to see it. They had to live in tents too. They had to go through the famines too. They had to go unstop. They had to do all these things. Who were heirs with him of the same promise. But they're still heating up, cooling down, spinning around. All this stuff is still happening because it's not time for it to be printed yet. It's not time. It's not ready yet. It's not broken to that point yet. It's not in that position yet where you're going to read it clearly. Keep going. For he was looking forward. He was. To the city with foundations, whose architect and builder was God. He was looking forward to them taking possession of this land. God told him this stuff. He was looking forward to that. Keep going. By faith, Abraham, even though he was past age, and Sarah herself was barren, was enabled to become a father, because he considered him faithful who had made the promise. If you see what he's going through here, he's going through each test that we just looked at in Genesis. He went through the test of, I don't know if I need to leave. Look at the first one. He left. By faith, he left. He passed that test and he obeyed. And it's important enough to put it in the New Testament. That means that's something that we better doubly pay attention to. Because that's the way we're supposed to be living. That's the way this stuff is supposed to happen. He goes back through this. We'll read through it, but through every single test. So then here's the part about the heir. I just need to go ahead and give it to Eliezer. Remember, because I don't have no son. No, by faith, Abraham, even though he was past age and Sarah herself was barren, was enabled to become a father because he considered him faithful who had made the promise. He showed him that another picture of the vision. He told him about the stars in the sky again. He said, listen to me. I'm your shield. I'm your reward. Listen to what I'm telling you. So he did. He stepped out. You can keep going. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as what? Stars in the sky, and as countless as the sand on the seashore. It did happen. He did get there. It did work. But all of that stuff, all of that process, he had to stick to that plan. Because there was a purpose. Because there was a destiny. Because there was a calling. Because you are supposed to be. Your name is supposed to be great. You're supposed to be a blessing. You're supposed to be dispensing good to others. Your seed will be taking possession of this territory. It will happen like this. You have to make a great nation. That's the future. That's the destiny. It will happen like this. And you have to step into that life of faith. That's what has to happen for you to get there. But until you follow that plan, until you do what he said to do, until you follow the procedure, you will never get to that point. And you have to have the faith to do it. You have to have the faith to do it. You have to. Say, I have the faith to do it. I'm not going to give up. I will see what I know he showed me. I will do what he said I will do. Y'all stand up. This stuff right here comes from a very real place. Because if you don't ever fully surrender, you're going to keep going back and forth. Fire, cold, spin, fire, cold, spin, fire, cold, all this kind of stuff. And you're never going to get to that point until you fully surrender your will. You fully surrender to what he's told you to do. That's what he's asking. That's what he's saying. You have to keep going. It might not happen the way you think it should happen. It might not be the way you think it should be. It might not turn out the way you think it should turn out. You might not see it. Are you going to stop? Are you going to quit because you won't see it in the time frame that you think that you should see it in? Here at this church, there's a vision. There's a plan. There's a purpose. There's a destiny. And there's a calling. And the calling is to step into a life of faith. It's bigger than just what you see in front of you. There's a world out there. It's bigger than just what you have in your hands. And when you will go up that mountain and sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice, he'll bring more clarity to the vision. When you will cut off whatever needs to be cut off, he'll bring more clarity to the vision.